A seeker and the non seeker both are living in the same world of situation, condition, people, pleasure seeking. But what happens to the seekers, that mind becomes instantly aware and it discerns, what is this craziness all about? So when I answered her that why you are concerned about your adopted or the real parents, it has nothing to do with it if we closely look at it.
Yeah.
It is all about I should be grateful to the existence that I am born as a human being. Second is the
Yeah.
human being has an intellect that can choose the path. Otherwise, mostly all the living species work instinctively. So, when the human being, as a human being, I have a free intellect to receive and retain the knowledge, and I can act in my life in a way to live and find my real self.
Yeah.
So, the first I told you this book is all about.
Before we get started, I just want to grab my drink.
Okay. We have 5 verses in this text, and I started this book from the section 4, where I started giving the detail of each and every principle. So it would be a good idea that you read couple of times the first 3 sections so that your mind continues to move into that direction.
Okay.
And now in the section 4 I'm starting. I jumped over hundreds of pages. So section 4 we have the first 4 principles. First principle, it says that I should study, acquire, receive, and retain the knowledge of the real self. And also what is not real self to begin the journey of the self discovery. I should have a clarity what is real self and what is not real self. So once we know that, the second step is we should understand our duties and responsibilities in daily life and we should perform in peace and happiness. How to do that, why to do it, when to do it, where to do it, that is our second goal. So, what happens? In fact, when I understand the principle that how to live a personal, professional, social, and the family life, and that is full of peace and happiness. So this mind is not distracted now in the personal life and the professional. I know how to deal with my dad and mom and honey and profession and the people in the different situations. So there are very wonderful principles we will discuss. The third principle is no. Then there one thing is left because now we know we apply the principles in personal, professional, social life. But still, that sense of emotional feeling, emotional dependence, and attachment keeps haunting me. So, the third principle is about how to bring about an emotional freedom. One, how to redirect the emotions and the feeling to the existence so that my mind does not fall trap does not start reacting, I remain calm and peaceful, loving. And then the fourth principle, whatever is left, is the desire. So we have to understand what exactly is the desire, one thing. Which desire causes the suffering in my life, and what are the characteristics of those desires which causes the suffering in my life, and which are the desires I should keep it, I should use it, I should have it, which does not cause any suffering. So these are the four principles which changes my entire perspective of the life. You see, you have asked a lot of questions that whether, oh, what do you mean we should not have a pleasure? We will get an answer in these four questions.
Okay.
Once we answer, we will get the answer. The first question is real self. What is real self and what is not real self? It is something like this is your home, that is not your home. Neighbor's home is not my home, this is my home. So I should be very clear in my head what is real self and what is not real self.
Is that what we're going to go over?
Now you will understand that how we are going. Now we are going in a totally in a different way.
Okay.
First thing, you see that you will learn totally a new thing. Any thought, any speech, any action performed, it is performed by what is not real self. You learn totally a new thing. That real self is pure consciousness of the nature of permanent peace, happiness, love, truth, and wisdom. That I explained to you in the beginning. But what we are differentiating is that real self is pure consciousness. It is non-changing. Means it never changes. It is all pervading. So why I said it is not a changing identity? So whatever is changing, that is perceived and experienced by the mind is not real self.
Why do you call it the real self?
Because we are caught by the false self. What we claim as we are is not what we are. So it is a false self. So we have to differentiate. We have to separate. So now the first understanding is that whatever is changing is not me, not the real I. So now look at the body is constantly changing. Body is not me. Breath is constantly changing. Breath is not me. Breath means energy. Oh, mind is also changing. This is not me. Intellect is changing, not me. Ego is constantly changing, not me. What is left then? Real self. That is the first understanding we have to keep in mind.
Okay.
Why we have to keep in mind? I have an acute pain. What does it mean? Where you have a pain? I have an acute pain into my belly. I'm answering again your question. The false self claims I am the real self and I have an acute pain in the belly, but the belly is a part of the body. I'm not the belly. So my mind instantly should become aware the belly has a pain I do not have a pain.
Yeah.
If,
Yeah.
if the mind creates a delusion, I have a pain in the head, then I say I have an headache. No, I do not have an headache. The body has an headache.
Do you speak like that now?
Huh?
Do you speak that way?
What is very important that I spoke in the beginning, my thought, speech, and action are constantly changing. That is not me, that is the part of the real self. So even when I say I have a headache, but internally I become aware this I has nothing to do with the body.
Yeah.
I can still use I have an headache
Because you know.
because I know,
Because
because
yeah.
I have a right knowledge.
Yeah.
So when I live into that, see, I dissociate constantly while living my life in my intellect, in my awareness, with my knowledge.
Why, Grease, why can't we be the body? Like, why can't we be something that changes? Like, so what that it changes? That why can't we be that still?
Yes, it is a good question, and the simple answer if I am seeking permanent peace, happiness, love, truth, and wisdom, I added an adjective permanent. Anything that changes cannot remain permanent.
Of course.
You cannot define that object or that thing to be a permanent. So now
True.
from that knowledge you look at the body is constantly changing. So the first thing, what is unchanging identity is me. Second answer. That I, since the birth, if you are 30, say for example, if you are 28-year-old, the science in both the Eastern wisdom says
Therefore,
every 7 years your body replaces every cell. On the 8th year you have a new body. Who you are you the body? So when the body has changed, if you are 28 years, your body has changed 4 times.
yeah.
That proves you cannot be the body. But the I continued, that very I am, that real I continued in the first body of 7 years, the second body of 14 years, the third body of 21 years, fourth body of 28
Yeah.
years.
Couldn't you also say that, like, since, like, if you're looking for the truth never changes. There's only one truth, and that truth is the real self.
And that
Because the truth is the truth, and nothing else, it can't be changed.
we will also define. Yes. So never changing is permanent.
Yeah.
So it means when the body is changing, I should not use body as me. I should remain aware and alert. So now see that another point that comes to the mind. So if I am 35 years or 42 years, so it means the 5 times this body has died and body has taken birth 5 times.
Yeah.
So why to worry about when I leave the body? I am not the body. Why? So when we distinguish between what is not me or what is the false self and what is the real self, so the simple answer that why we denote, represent it is a false self because we have been living with the wrong notion, wrong idea that this body is real me. So if I do not designate it as a false self, the mind will continue to live in ignorance. When, now see, when we separate in our head, not separate physically, when we separate the false from the real self, Buddha says this mind goes into the absolute nothingness. And from the nothingness, the mind reveals the knowledge of the real self. That is one way to say. Patanjali is known as the master of Eastern psychology. He says when the mind goes into the state of objectless state, then we recognize and we are settled into the real self, and that settling into the real self is known as awakening, realization.
When it goes objectlessly?
Objectless state of the mind.
Okay.
Object, there is no object.
I see.
So we will talk in detail why we say that objectless state. Just for the time being, we understand that. You have a river, many waves are there because of the wind, and because of these waves, the water becomes muddy. So, as soon as the waves stopped, the lake becomes quiet. We see the ground below the lake. So with the mind. When it is calm, mind is like a lake. When it is calm, when it is objectless state, it becomes almost transparent. We do not mix ourselves with the mud that is false self. Then we recognize and realize the real. That is the way. Another definition that is one of the most beautiful definition given to given by a great master who lived almost I would say 8,000 years ago in one Upanishad. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. What is real self? It is truth. It is knowledge. It is infinity. It is all pervading knowledge in the truth. It does not have a name in the form. It does not have a shape. It does not have a color. It does not have any attribute. So I'm just giving at present a definition, and gradually we will open up as the new principles come. So, what exactly happens when we realize that knowledge of the real self? There is a ultimate satisfaction. You like pasta, still you like pasta, but you don't have a craving for it. You are aware of the sexual pleasure, but in the presence of absolute, unbound happiness, and the joy that is thrilling your body. You can compare the sexual pleasure as a penny with $1 billion of permanent happiness. Will you run after a penny? Will you run after? Don't ask any general question. What will happen to the world? The world is already crazy. We are going to be 9 billion people. There is going to be a food shortage. So don't ask me what will happen to the world. Let it anything happen to the world. Don't move your mind there. So I'm comparing $1 billion permanent state of the happiness, which is constant. When you wake up, you are in the state of happiness. In the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, in the night, in next day, next situation. So will you go after that, or will you go after 5-10 minutes of sexual pleasure? I'm answering your question that you asked me previously.
Yeah.
No, no, but I want to have a kid, so go for it. So it does not create any craving. Mind is now not going to repeat the same pleasure. Why? Because you already have $1 billion of pleasure. It is a conscious experience that you live into that state of permanent happiness. So what that brings, that brings kind of ultimate satisfaction. You have the basic needs, you earn money. I remind you that you have to pay me. But that wealth, that object outside are the means, they are not the goals. Because now you have already found your ultimate, you have realized the ultimate goal. That real self, always you are aware of that real self, if I say so. You live into that. The mind remains steady, naturally steady in that state. First principle, we are learning that what exactly is the real self. So we are getting some understanding. What exactly is the real self? You can differentiate and distinctly you are aware of what is a stone that is shining from too far and what is gold. What is gold? That peace and happiness that comes from the real self. What is a stone? The craving for a particular food, craving for a sex and getting frustrated. Then your mind never say, I have given 200% to you and expecting a result. You have given 200% to yourself. You are always living into that state of peace. Why we are differentiating between the false and the real self? It is because of, so we should have a clarity of understanding. How to go about it and what is preventing me when the real self is already within me? What is preventing me? I gave an example of a muddy river with a lot of wind, the waves, that is present in the mind. They are of three kinds. That what are the three kinds? One, set of impurities. Other is the distractions in the wandering mind. It cannot keep focus on the subject of real self. And the third is the ignorance. They constitute the muddy water in the mind. Unless we clean it, the moment we start cleaning, what are the indications we experience? The moment you start cleaning, you will recognize that now you have you have become a shock absorber. Any shock that comes from the world due to situation, people, relationship, you can absorb that shock. You maintain that calm in the voice. We will understand that how to, what are those. So once you do that, so what happens? The moment you have a shock absorber, you get a sense of detachment with the world. When you are detached with the world, it means there is no sense of emotional dependence. When that emotional dependence is not there, another result that what our master says, that you start living in the state of dispassion. Where is dispassion? No situation, no person, no event can dictate your mind. You know calmness and the poise has to be lived in, whatever the situation. So these are some of the indications that a seeker notices in the life. You have a problem, you recognize the problem and solve in the state of the calmness and peace. You fail, like Edison, you say that, okay, failure is a learning, let me continue my journey. I lost my awareness, and that is that is why I failed. Now I will live with this project with a higher level of awareness, not to fail, but you are not disturbed. You are able to maintain the calmness and the poise, and that comes from inside your state. That is a true indication that the seeker is progressing into the path of realization of the real self. What happens then? Remarkable thing that happens now, your mind is not at all wandering at all. You wake up in the morning, your mind says, go take your bath. Mind reminds you the agenda. You do not need to keep your calendar. The mind has a right knowledge of the real self. At the same time, say every time we wake up, our experience is different. Sometimes it is attached to the body, sometimes it has to do with the breath, sometimes my nostrils are clogged. So what happens? Your mind guides you how to take care of your physical, energy, mental, and the emotional well-being. Yeah, you wake up in the morning and yesterday you had a bad event and the mind reminds you, but you check the mind and the mind remains calm. It has no regret of the past. It does not repeat the past. These are a couple of indications. We have yet to realize the real self. We are a seeker. But that gives a good indication that we are treating the path rightly. Does the teacher recognize? No, you recognize and you share that experience with the teacher. That is what happens. The purified mind, the mind remains pure. What does it mean? Mind remains pure so that purity of the mind does not distract itself. There is no wandering of the mind. What that means? Now, first time you recognize you are working on the mind is not working on you. You live in a higher awareness. You will discover that, what the craziest stuff, why they are fighting, why they are arguing. You don't say anything, you don't make any comment, but you recognize. Because you live at a higher level of awareness. You instantly recognize. There are many revelations. That is why the first topic is that we must understand what is real self and what is not real self. Listening and learning from a teacher, what the teacher does, teacher teaches from the text. But if the teacher of the Eastern wisdom does not teach from the text, does not refer to the text, does not repeat it, that he is teaching from the text, then he is not a teacher of the Eastern wisdom. Better to leave that guy. Why to leave that guy? Because then the teacher has a big ego. He will start teaching from the ego. Close your eyes, I will show you a great vision in the colors. What I have to do with the colors and vision when I see the colors outside with my naked eyes? So those who are non-seekers, they get carried away. I had a real life example in New Jersey. This young guy like you so in New Jersey I used to give a group session face to face, and the first comers I used to ask them that why you are in my session. Can you give me the answer? He said to me, I see every time I go into meditation, I see God and I communicate with God. Very good. Then why you are attending my session?
Right?
Any reason? Now I have a lot of stress. I said, when you are talking to that God, I don't want to name that God, otherwise people will feel hurt. So I said, when you are talking to the God, today you go and start with the talk and ask Him to take your stress. No, no, no. Many people told me that you help meditate in such a way that the stress. Now I want to keep the wrong notion with myself that I communicate with the God, and still I have a stress, and still I have a disturbed sleep. So this is what is your hallucination. Nothing less, more than that. It is very clear that it is all about the hallucination. So it happens because of those teachers who do not teach from the text. Because then, it keeps the ego of a teacher also in the check that these are the principles.
Yeah.
I should not distract myself. So I heard that then he had to go to a psychiatrist. So he wanted, I don't know whether he wanted to check me, so what I have to. Now, see, once we recognize, clearly understand, this is the real self, that is our goal. That is the goal of every human being on this earth. No, no, that seems to be too much. Really? That is not too much. That is clear. How it is clear? Do you want peace in the morning, not in the afternoon? Do you want happiness in the afternoon, not in the evening? No, I want happiness all the time. First reason. It means I want happiness in all the situations, in all locations, in all relationship, at all time. That means I am seeking real self. I am seeking real self that is permanent. Second reason. I say I will marry to be happy. So marriage is a means, goal is still happiness. Goal, the final goal is still happiness. So I use the marriage as a goal to be happy as a means. I reverse this. And that causes tremendous stress and suffering in our daily life.
Yeah.
Marriage is a means, marriage is not a goal to be happy. I divorce to be happy, so divorce is a goal to be happy. You will never be happy. There is a lot of confusion in the mind of a non seeker. Car is a means to be happy, to reach to a particular destination. Car is not a goal. Whether I drive Ford or Mercedes or BMW or what is the luxurious company? Porsche, I don't remember. Goal is to reach home. I can reach home even by bicycle. So depending on the resources, let me have it. Where is the problem? But but here it is clear what are the goals and what is the mean. I can tell you, my friend, you change the goals as a means and the means as a goal even for a week. From the next moment, you will have stress and suffering and grief and pain and the reaction and anger and the. My goal is to have, but I don't remember those luxury car, you know. No, think of that. That cost $200,000. Now I drive that car. I park outside the garage, and I start looking all around. Where are my neighbors? Today my neighbors are not looking. Where are, where are my neighbors? So I made that car as a goal. Come on.
What is it a goal for? To be happy?
Goal is to find the real self. The real self
Oh,
is of the nature of peace and happiness.
of course.
So when my mind, due to the false notion, make the means as the goals. That is why you gave 200% to that beautiful girl. Anyhow, I will not say crazy girl, but you don't give me even 50%. So it means if the mind is aware of what is real self and what is false self. So what is real self here? Real self is hidden. That real self is of the essence of the love. Mind, why you are giving 200% love to anyone? Why? So you understand. You immediately give a break to the mind. Don't enter into the emotional dependence. You save yourself from lot of frustration, hesitation, reaction, pleasure seeking. Pay attention. We are going deeper slow by slow. So, yes, you said, but what exactly is the ultimate source of knowledge of the Eastern wisdom? We are going to find out the cause of the ultimate knowledge of the Eastern wisdom. The seeker can easily grasp it and understand. From where I received and retained and realized that knowledge from my master. From where my master received that knowledge from his master. Third generation, fourth generation, fifth generation, tenth generation. No, no. Forget about all the masters. Who is the ultimate master?
The real self.
The real self. So why the teacher should have a ego? The real self is in you, the real self in me. Why should I have an ego that I'm teaching you something extraordinary, even though it is an extraordinary knowledge? But if I keep the burden, a pressure, no, I'm teaching you. This I am do not exist because real self is present in every human being. What the teacher is doing, the teacher is helping you to uncover, unveil that knowledge. Ultimate master is the real self, lives in the deep cave of your heart. So there are revelations, and those revelations in the form of a mantra became the ultimate text, which are known as Upanishads. From the Upanishads, those people who have started teaching another text became, they are known as, that those people who realized and they wrote the text, they narrated it, they are known as the second group of the text, of which one is the Gita. But when the Gita was written, then there were a lot of objections from the people, from the seekers. The seekers raises very logical questions. So many masters wrote the third group of the text, which is known as Sutra, in which they removed all doubts, confusion, that the real self is the absolute reality It is the pure consciousness. It is of the nature of peace and happiness, love and wisdom. Take one objection. You are crying in pain. You also have a real self. And I am jumping in pleasure. So we both have a real self. So how one real self is jumping, how other real self is crying? They have raised a genuine doubt, seekers, and the masters have answered it. How you are wrong, where you went wrong. That is the beauty of this journey. We have the answers of almost every question a seeker asks. If you are a seeker, the seeker will always ask a genuine question. A crazy guy will ask, "Well, show me the real self, prove it." There is no answer to it. It is better not to answer that. Why you don't answer that? Now see that my eyes can see you. My eyes cannot hear you. My eyes cannot touch you. Only the skin can touch. Ears can listen. Ears cannot see you. So every sense organ is an instrument of particular knowledge. One type of knowledge of colors, of the name and the form. No, form I can recognize by an instrument of knowledge which is eyes. I can recognize the smell by another instrument of knowledge, nose. But the nose cannot see me, cannot see you. Did you understand that point? So the master says one type of instrument can only give us one type of knowledge. Eyes can give me name and the form and smell. Nose can instantly. Another thing is very important, very interesting. When these instruments of knowledge, eyes are open, nose is very open, ears are, when these instruments of knowledge naturally knows their respective objects. We are going deeper. What it means. Hi, how are you at the beginning of a session? At the same time, my eyes are open naturally. I can see the horse behind you, the table, and some of the stuff. When you speak, I can listen you. So all these instruments of knowledge are available naturally to know the respective objects of senses. Clear? Eastern wisdom is an instrument of knowledge that makes you available to recognize and realize the real. So you can see the real self here and now, not through the eyes. No, but why I don't see through? Eyes cannot hear, ears cannot see. Don't you realize one type of instrument of knowledge, only one type of knowledge? Eyes cannot see the real self, ears cannot hear the real self. It can hear the sound. So that very journey is the journey of self. Another aspect comes. So it means I have to desire real self, yes. Desire real self is the goal of life. How many times you remember during the day when you wake up in the morning until you retire to the bed, the mind is already like a water in the lake is muddy. It has lot of issues to deal with. It is always in a hurry. It is always reacting. It has to do lot of stuff. Never reminds itself that I'm the real self. I mean, my goal is the real self. Then how can I reach to that real self? You wake up in the morning and ultimately your mind says, I have to go this, I have to meet this guy to find this project, and I have to collect the money from there, and I have this much of money in my account. And then I look, that girl is beautiful, so let me talk to her. Do you have a time to desire you? You don't have time, then how can you recognize? So the master says, I have to clarify what is desired, what is to be desired, and what is not to be desired.
How do you clarify that?
Very good. That's a good. What is desired? The moment I desire pasta, I have enough food at my home. So I recognize what I recognize: eat to live or live to eat.
Eat to live.
Eat to live. The food is already available at my home. Don't be crazy. Whatever food is available, let me eat. I have removed what is undesired. When I go outside tomorrow, then okay, I can have the pasta. It's okay.
So then, okay, how would you relate that to when you're out and you see a beautiful girl that you want to talk to? How would you relate to that?
Can you repeat the question?
What would an example be when you're out and you see a girl that you want to talk to? You have a desire to talk to her. How would
My
you?
dear friend, why your mind always goes to the girls?
Because
Not
you
to
talk about the girl. You talk about the girl.
not to the boys. Yes, find out. Ask the question why you want to talk to the girl. Do you have what kind of an expectation? Why you are attracted to that girl? Is it desired or undesired? So the more you question is, you realize it is undesired. It may be a sensual attraction which will cause the emotional dependence. So am I looking for an emotional dependence? Is the desired goal of my life?
So it's really about asking. You have to ask a lot of questions to yourself
In the
before you.
beginning. In
Yeah.
the beginning, you have to ask a lot of questions, and then once those questions are already settled in your mind, they come from the intellect, and that intellect clarifies which is knowledge and which is ignorance.
Okay.
So, what happens? And after that, it becomes a matter of just an awareness. Oh, you are beautiful. Yesterday, I was in some shop, at the cashier. I looked into her eyes and I said, you're beautiful.
Great.
You're smart. So she looked at me. I said, I mean it. Why I mean it? I was watching you. You are doing your job so efficiently. Then I could see her smile. Then that's all. What else I want? I don't have any desire. She thought I appreciated her, but I appreciated the beauty of the real self is manifesting through her focused, her purity of the mind.
Cool.
So we masters live into that state. We use the same expression in our life as you use. But what is happening in the mind, what is desired and what is not desired, we are 100% clear. Now my son's in-law is there, and he was looking. He said he might be thinking, I'm young, this old guy. But then he knows, now he knows my nature. He will never stop speaking. But you see that in that expression, and she kept looking, she said, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Why shouldn't I appreciate what is appreciable? But that appreciation does not contain the content of the sensuality. It contains the intellect has an understanding that this beauty belongs to the existence, manifesting through her. You're handsome, that is being manifest through that real self. You have body, breath, mind, intellect, ego, beautiful thoughts, minus real self. Body does not exist.
Yeah.
So that is the beauty, that practice we have to do. My dad is angry, so I see the beauty of anger in him. What happens? I remain calm.
Garish, were you close to your dad?
No, I was not close. I was. He was moving in east, so I was always moving in west, north and south pole. Siraj, he said, "You listen to me. You get a job, get a civil job in the government, and then make your life successful." I said, "That is not a success in life." He used to run away from the house. So in India, what happens? You have many monks, many monasteries. So I used to run away from the house, lived for some time, a month and 3 months into one monastery, then return back. Look at
You
this.
did?
Yeah.
Wow.
I led, that's a different story of my life. And when I used to return, look at this crazy guy. He returned again. I am telling you, there is nothing in this crazy Eastern wisdom. I had no word because I met those masters which did not teach me anything worthwhile, and that is why I returned. Many a times in my 20s, I ran from my house at least 10 or 15 times in search that what should I do? Where should I go? I see the big monasteries and they are preaching, but it does not appeal to me. Why it does not appeal? Because they are not answering my questions. Then I used to ask myself, are my questions genuine? It is it is worthy of seeking an answer. So only my master who initiated me, he said, I will give you an answer in installment until you become a seeker. I have no issue. And when I looked at him, I had only tears in my eyes. I said, I'm not going to leave you. And gradually, I met many other masters with whom I had the same feeling. Other also great masters I met. So you see that what is desired has to be clear. So prior to running away from the house, mind was 100% clear because I have read, I did a lot of practices. So mind was clear. I want to know who am I. I went to one master, I ran away, and he said, please come and sit there. He had a big monastery with 300 rooms. Dad, everything is okay. Who am I? I will show you lot of powers. I said, I have not come here to see the powers. If power is there, I will go back to the same society. I will work hard. I will earn money. I will show people the power. Power of money, power of recognition. Oh, these are all play of the mind. It has nothing to do with the real self. Mind was 100% clear that I will not get carried away by any kind of hallucination and imagination in my life. With that focus of the mind, I went in search of these masters that